Making all this content for you requires an enormous effort and resources, so I ask that if this is an entertainment that you enjoy and like, please support me with your subscription and a like. This way you won't miss out on future true stories that I will bring to you.
Terror en la oscuridad. The poisoned candy.
Greetings, Herr. My name is Juana. I'm a mom of 2 and I'm a big fan of your content, even though my kids don't like it because it scares them. Today I want to tell you about something that the 3 of us lived, and it is, without exaggeration, one of the worst nights we have ever experienced. If you have children, please pay attention, because what happened to me and my family could happen to anyone. It all started one Halloween evening. As you can imagine, I have always loved this holiday. I love decorating our house down to the last corner. I also love going out in costume with my kids trick-or-treating. Unfortunately, I couldn't go with them during the Halloween that this happened because of a bad injury I had to my foot. So I let them go out alone. First because my son, little Andrew, 10, would be accompanied by Daniel, the oldest, 16, and the area we live in is quiet. They decided to dress up as zombies. Daniel has always been a good brother, very protective of Andres, so I wasn't too worried when they left the house. Time passed and I decided to sit down and watch a movie, but something in the atmosphere didn't feel right. Call it Mother's sixth sense. I thought it was just my nerves, that I was letting the Halloween atmosphere get to me. Then, around 9 p.m., frantic knocking on the door was heard. I jumped up and ran to open the door. It was Andres, holding Daniel's hand. They were scared. You could tell by looking at them, but Daniel looked worse. He was as pale as a sheet, sweating as if he had run a marathon, and his hand was shaking to the degree that I could hear his wrist slaves clacking against each other. "Mom, there are monsters, really. Monsters," whispered Daniel with his eyes looking in all directions. I didn't know how to react. Monsters? What was I talking about? I tried to compose myself, to think of something logical. Maybe they saw a Halloween decoration that was too realistic, I said to myself. But looking into his eyes, I saw a terror that could not be explained by simple decorations. "Mom, seriously. They weren't decorations, they were real," she insisted, as Andrew clung to my leg, watching his brother with eyes full of confusion and fear. "He's been like this for a while, Mom. I had to bring him because he told me he was feeling bad," the youngest told me. I had no choice. I knew something serious was going on, so, crutches and all, I asked Andres to lean on my shoulder to get him into the car, still shaking, in the front seat. We drove straight to the hospital. The doctor, my children's lifelong pediatrician, was on call. Thank goodness for that. He showed us in immediately. He examined Daniel and then took me out of the room. It was then that he said to me the words that no parent wants to hear. "Juana, Daniel was drugged." You don't know how I felt at that moment, Herr. Fear, guilt, nervousness. I felt everything. The doctor confirmed to us that probably one of the candies Daniel had eaten was adulterated with some substance. "We're not sure exactly what it is, but it's potent," he told me. I asked them where they had gotten, or where they thought they had gotten that candy, and neither of them knew how to tell me. They didn't even look, they just got the candy and left. The thing is, even though he was under the effects of this mysterious drug, Daniel insisted that the things he had seen were real, not just hallucinations. He spoke of hideous creatures that seemed to stalk him from the trees, of deformed faces peering out of windows, of shadows that moved. He could not stop. Every time he tried to close his eyes, he would wake up startled, as if something had pulled him back to an alternate reality full of terror. The night at the hospital was long and exhausting. I couldn't sleep. Neither could Andres, but mostly because he was worried about his brother. Daniel spent hours under observation, and although the doctors assured that the substance was leaving his system, something in his behavior said otherwise. The next morning, the doctor came with the news that I thought would relieve me. The drug should be out of your system by now. You can go home. But when I saw Daniel, I knew something was hopelessly wrong. It wasn't just the tiredness or the stress in his eyes. It was as if a part of him had stayed in that other place he was talking about. You could see it in his face, in the way he would startle at any sound, in the restless look he would cast into every dark corner as if waiting for something to emerge from it. Since that night, my son has not been the same. He continues to insist that what he saw was real, that it was not hallucinations or drug-enhanced imaginations. There are times when I find him staring into nothingness, as if he is waiting for something to materialize right in front of him. I have taken him to therapy, consulted with psychiatrists, but nothing seems to work. It's as if something inside him has broken, as if that experience has changed him forever. Almost 2 years have passed since then, and my son is living a normal life, but he still has some after effects of it because he keeps seeing abnormal things all of a sudden. So, if you have children, please be very careful, especially on dates like Halloween. Check the candy they collect, accompany them if you can. No one should have to go through an experience like this, because I assure you it's a nightmare. Greetings, Herr.
The Man with the Devil's Face.
My name is Carmen. This happened after a costume party that was held a few days before Halloween. It wasn't that far from home, about 10 blocks away. Of course, I had to go through a park that has always had a reputation for being kind of spooky. But it was about 11 o'clock at night, not that late, and I figured it would be okay if I crossed quickly. The party was cool, with friends, dancing a little bit, having a drink. I wore a vampire costume. When I said goodbye to the guys, nobody said anything about the park or offered me a ride. It's just that nobody thinks anything's gonna happen until it happens, right? So I started walking. My feet were already hurting because I had foolishly been wearing heels. I was about halfway through the park when I saw a man sitting on one of the benches. You couldn't see his face, but you could see the reflection of the horns on his head. He was looking down at the ground, and since I had just come from a costume party, I figured he would be in costume or something. Besides, it was almost Halloween. How weird could it be to see someone in costume? But something in my stomach churned. I don't know. It was like an intuition or something, like I was being told to get away from there. So I tried to walk away faster, without looking back. But all of a sudden I heard the sound of his shoes hitting the pavement. He was getting up from the bench. They were very clear footsteps, as if someone had amplified them just for me to hear. I stopped for a second and thought, could he really be following me? I turned to look, and yes, the man was there, a few feet behind me. He wasn't running or anything, but he was heading in my direction. And his face, now illuminated by the streetlight, still had that demonic look. Mind you, I'm not saying he was a demon. When I saw his face was painted and he looked clearly human to me. I got goosebumps, I swear. It was as if a cold wave had gone through my whole body. I picked up my pace, and what's crazier is that when I did, I heard him speed up too. That's when I realized something wasn't right. Something was very wrong. I couldn't let that guy follow me home. I had to do something, and fast. So at the next intersection, I turned off. I no longer cared about getting home. I just wanted to get away from that man, from the park, from all that. And as luck would have it, I saw something that looked like salvation, a street food stand in the distance. I didn't stop to think. I just ran as if my life depended on it, which maybe it did. I ran so fast that I almost tripped over my heels several times, but I didn't care. I got to the stall and told the man, almost out of breath, that someone was following me. The vendor looked at me with worried eyes and said he was going to call the police. When I turned to see if the guy was still there, no one was there. No one. As if it had all been a dream. I swear, I've never felt so much relief and so much fear at the same time. The police arrived about 20 minutes later. 2 patrol cars, 4 officers, all with the same bored face that I was already expecting. I explained to them what happened, how he followed me, how I ran, how he disappeared. They said they were going to patrol the area, but you know how it is. Words more, words less, and in the end, nothing ever happens. For weeks, every time I passed near that park, I couldn't help but feel that something or someone was watching me. And the most fucked up thing is that, after that, rumors started to spread in the neighborhood about strange apparitions in the park. Yes, you heard right. Apparitions. That's right. Some said they saw shadows, others said they heard demonic laughter. No one confirmed it, but from what I saw, I could believe it. But well, thanks for reading me and have a happy, scary holiday. I will watch all your videos this holiday season.
Paranormal attack.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, Herr. My name is Jorge, but you can call me by my pseudonym Sanestition. This happened on October 30th last year, the night before Halloween. At the time, I was living alone in an apartment. Like many other Fridays, I decided to relax by watching a horror movie. Lights off, popcorn, the perfect setting for a good scary movie. But then, the lights started to flicker. I got a little scared because at this time of the year, you get so excited about everything. I even laughed. I was sure it was an electrical fault. But it wasn't. The lights went out completely. I reached for my cell phone to use the flashlight, but it turned out that the damn thing wouldn't turn on. I tried again and again, but nothing. At that moment, I felt something strange, like a shiver, and that's when I heard it. A meow. I couldn't tell you where it came from, but it was there, somewhere in my house. Needless to say, I don't have cats or pets. I wanted to calm down, but then I heard a clicking sound, a strange one. It was clearly made by a mouth. It beeped about 3 times and then went silent. Herr, I swear I had no idea what was going on, and the fact that there was no light, you don't know how nervous I was getting. I didn't know what to do, and just when I was trying to sort out my thoughts, I heard one more thing, which really drove me crazy. The bed squeaked in my room as if it had been dragged. I froze. What now? My phone was still not working, and I didn't know if it was a good idea to run away. For the first time in my life, I felt a fear that I cannot explain in words. It was as if every part of my body was screaming at me that I was in danger. A fear that freezes you, that makes you feel vulnerable. Just as I was trying to approach the exit of my apartment, I saw it. A shadow in the window. I don't know if it was a bad move by my brain, but I know it was a shadow that had a shape, a silhouette. I saw it out of the corner of my eye as I passed in front of it a few feet away. That window always gives it a lot of light, so if something is up against it, it's very easy to notice. When I realized that something was there, I turned to look at it, but there was nothing there. My first thought was that I was a thief or something, although it doesn't make much sense when I analyze it. Sometimes I think it was my logical side trying to protect myself or get away from something I couldn't understand. I steeled myself, trying to forget the fear I had. So I went to the kitchen to get a knife. If anything or anyone dared to come in, I wanted to be prepared. But then, as I set foot in the kitchen, the lights came on all at once, as if someone had turned everything back on. My cell phone, which was more dead than alive, suddenly came back on. I quickly searched the entire house, but there was no sign of shadows, no laughter, no knocking, nothing. Everything went back to normal, as if nothing had happened. Since that night, I can tell you that my vision of the world changed completely. I started researching about the paranormal, reading books and talking to people who know about these things. Some tell me that on dates close to Halloween, like the night I lived that experience, portals open or something similar. They say that entities from other worlds can cross into ours. Honestly, I don't know if that's true or just stories, but what I do know is that something happened that night that is beyond any logical explanation. And from then on, I tell you, I will never spend a Halloween night alone again. Not a chance. Because maybe I'm the one who attracts the portals or something. I'll try to be with friends or family, I don't know. The point is not to be alone. I'll tell you something else. If you ever find yourself in a situation similar to mine, please don't take it lightly. Don't think it's your imagination or that you're watching too many horror movies. I have learned that these things are real and can catch up with you.